Okay, good morning, everybody. It's great to kick off today's funding announcement. I am Brian Patterson, Mayor of Kingston. Happy to invite all of you here virtually. I'm here at Kingston City Hall on the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee peoples. Certainly delighted to welcome everybody here, and a special welcome to MP Mark Gerritsen and MPP Stephen Crawford, and excited to hear from them on today's funding announcement. At this point, to kick things off, I'm going to invite Mark Gerritsen, Member of Parliament for Kingston and the Islands, to provide remarks on behalf of the Government of Canada. Mark.
Thank you very much, Brian, and it's great to be here with you and MPP Crawford for this exciting announcement. I do want to take the opportunity, as you did, to acknowledge that I'm speaking to you from the traditional unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe people. I'm actually in Ottawa right now on Parliament Hill. I'll start off, I guess, Brian, by saying that for well over a year now, we've been dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic. During our time, our government has been working closely with partners to take decisive action to protect families, businesses, and communities. Since the start of the pandemic, we have approved over 3,400 projects worth a total of $4.6 billion. We've also doubled the gas tax fund up to $2.2 billion, and we've created the COVID-19 resilience infrastructure stream, providing 80 cents for every dollar for every project that's been approved. Municipalities across Canada are on the front lines of the pandemic and need assistance immediately to ensure that their public and community infrastructure is safe and reliable. Community spaces, recreational centers, and municipal buildings are at the heart of Canadian communities. That is why I am pleased to be here today on behalf of Minister McKenna to announce that the federal government is contributing over $17.7 million to support 130 municipalities across Eastern Ontario so that they can create safe and quality community spaces for their residents in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. This funding will support upgrades to improve and protect important municipal buildings such as town centers and emergency and health care facilities. Additional investments will rehabilitate recreational and community infrastructure across Eastern Ontario and include local improvements to trails and pedestrian paths and systems. These investments will provide thousands of residents access to modern recreational infrastructure where they can safely maintain an active and healthy lifestyle. In the city of Kingston, improvements to Rideau Crest Long-Term Care Facility will improve building accessibility and resident safety by upgrading the facility's washrooms and elevators. Funding will also support the replacement of play structures in 4 city parks, providing safe and reliable recreational infrastructure for years to come. Across the Government of Canada, we are committed to getting results for Canadians, creating jobs, and building cleaner, more inclusive communities. Within Budget 2021, we have a plan to ensure that we conquer COVID-19 in the short term, punch our way out of the COVID-19 recession in the medium term, and build a more resilient Canada that is more equitable, prosperous, and innovative in the long term. We know that partnerships are key to supporting communities across the country, and that is why the Government of Canada is working closely with provinces, municipalities, stakeholders to get projects built quickly. Today's announcement is another great example of how we are working together with our partners across the country so that we can make positive differences in the lives of so many. And this is critical to our country's recovery as we move forward and build our future. We also do so making sure that we can build up so that our communities come out of this pandemic stronger and more resilient than ever. And with that, Mayor Patterson, I just want to say that it's been an absolute pleasure to work with our provincial colleagues, our municipal colleagues throughout this pandemic to get those supports to Canadians that they need so badly. MPP Crawford to the provincial government, the work that we've been able to do collaboratively. I know the media only pays attention to the times that we seem to be at odds, but 99% of the time, the governments have been working very well on behalf of Canadians, and I'm extremely proud of the relationships that have developed over the last year and a half as a result of needing to come together in these very difficult times. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Mayor Patterson, and thank you for the opportunity to announce that.
That's great. Thanks very much, Mark, for those comments and for the great news for Kingston. That's excellent. So at this point, I'd now like to invite Stephen Crawford, Parliamentary Assistant to the Minister of Infrastructure and Member of Provincial Parliament for Oakville, on behalf of the Honourable Laurie Scott, Ontario's Minister of Infrastructure, to provide remarks on behalf of the Government of Ontario. Stephen.
Thank you, Mayor Patterson, and thank you for the media and everybody joining us here today. And I'm calling in from the beautiful community of Oakville, and to another community that I really have a lot of respect for and love is Kingston, Ontario. So hello to everybody there. And obviously today I'm here on behalf of the Minister Laurie Scott, the Minister of Infrastructure, who could not join, but certainly sends her regrets and is excited by this news for Eastern Ontario as well. And again, I do want to thank my federal municipal colleagues for welcoming me here today, MP Gerritsen and Mayor Brian Patterson. And I think to MP Gerritsen's point, you know, as a country, I think we've really come together through the COVID pandemic. And I think all levels of government, of course, we're going to have our differences, but you know what? We've been getting along and we've been as Team Canada. And I think when you look at Canada relative to the rest of the world, how we've gotten through this pandemic, I think we've done pretty well. So I want to congratulate all levels of government for their participation. And I'm excited to be here with this announcement today. In a time when the people of Ontario have been working very hard to address the challenges of COVID-19, it's really exciting to be here with this good news announcement today. And Ontario is committed to supporting municipalities and communities during this unprecedented time. So through the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program, or as it's commonly referred to as ICIP, both governments have committed more than $1 billion in combined funding through the COVID-19 resilience funding. The COVID stream is helping to build and renovate health and safety projects, as well as long-term education facilities and municipal projects. And joint public announcements for these education and long-term care facility projects took place earlier in the year, back in April. This stream is also helping to build municipal and communities address critical local infrastructure needs in the face of COVID-19, including $250 million in funding from the federal and provincial governments. So today we are announcing funding for 130 municipalities across Eastern Ontario. And they'll receive a total of more than $4.4 million in provincial funding under the local government component of the COVID-19 stream. So funding announced today will support upgrades to improve and protect important municipal buildings, such as town centers and emergency and healthcare facilities. Additional investments will rehabilitate recreational and community infrastructure across Eastern Ontario and include improvements to local trail and pedestrian path systems, which we all know we need more than ever through the pandemic. These investments will provide thousands of residents with access to modern recreational infrastructure where they can safely maintain an active and healthy lifestyle. For example, I know in the city of Kingston, improvements to the Rideau Crest long-term care facility will improve building accessibility and resident safety by upgrading the facility's washrooms and elevators. Funding will also support the renovation of Peterborough Sports and Wellness Center to provide a safer and more accessible environment for clients. And this comes, of course, at a time when access to safe activities has never been more important. As the COVID-19 pandemic has clearly highlighted, investments in the health and wellness of Ontarians is more critical than ever. The 2021 Ontario budget, released on March 24th, builds on record investments made in response to the global pandemic, bringing total investments to $16.3 billion to protect people's health and $23.3 billion to protect our economy. So Ontario's COVID-19 action plan now totals $51 billion. Supporting local infrastructure projects helps to protect families and our communities, making them both stronger and healthier. So I'm pleased that the residents in Eastern Ontario will benefit from our joint investments. Together, we're rebuilding the economy, creating healthy and safe communities across Ontario through this joint partnership with the federal and provincial governments. Again, I'd like to thank Mayor Brian Patterson of Kingston for hosting us today, our federal partners for your contributions. These are very meaningful contributions and will, I think, have great success within your local community. So I congratulate you, and on behalf of the Government of Ontario, I'm honored to be here today. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Stephen, and certainly on behalf of the City of Kingston, I want to thank you and Mark. Thank you both for coming today and for sharing this really great news for our community. And I think maybe I'll start by saying, and I think it's important to recognize the unprecedented investments from both the federal and provincial governments over the last year and a half. I mean, this has been a time like no other, and the supports I know for businesses, for social service agencies, for all sorts of facets of our community have just been so important to be able to get us through the pandemic. And I don't want to jinx anything, but 15 months in and we see light at the end of the tunnel. It's great that we're starting to see a reopening and start moving toward that recovery. And I think that these investments, are very, very important. I think we'd all agree that after the last year and a half, the importance of investing in long-term care homes is critical. And certainly we're proud of the work that's happened at Rideau Crest and how we've been able to take care of our residents. But I think these additional dollars will really help us to be able to do that much more. Investment in playgrounds. Boy, if there was one thing that we celebrate now more than ever, it's those outdoor activities and being able to have spaces where families and kids can go to get outdoor activities in a safe environment. Certainly, that's a key investment as well. So certainly, I can tell you on behalf of not just Kingston, I'm sure all municipalities, just how much we appreciate the partnership and support from upper levels of government. Mark and Stephen, as you've alluded to, appreciate when you're able to work together and help support us. It means a lot. So thank you both for being here and for your time. I think at this point, my job is to hand it over to Justin, who's going to moderate the Q&A. So if I have that right, Justin, you can take over, or if there's anything else I'm supposed to do, just let me know.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor Patterson. At this time, I'd like to thank all the speakers as well, and I'd like to now call on the media who are present with us today and ask to join in the Q&A portion of this meeting. If you do have any questions, I'd like to invite the media to identify themselves by name and organization. Please do so in the chat. We will invite you to ask one question and one follow-up. Please direct your question to the specific speakers and keep questions to the topic of the announcement. So I will now see if there are any questions coming in.
Sometimes the news is just so great that there are no questions.
I'm not seeing any questions coming in. I will open up the microphones for the attendees here in case they wish to ask a question.
Yes, hi, it's Darren Davis from Global News Kingston. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. Thumbs up and the head nod is positive. I guess for Kingston, we've got the work going on at Rideau Crest and the parks. Can you break down the dollar figures and some of the work that's going on there? Sounds like from MPP Crawford, it's at least for Rideau Crest, it's addressing accessibility issues. And then sort of the breakdown, is it sort of a one-third contribution?
Oh, hi, dear. I can start off with that. It's MPP Crawford. The breakdown on this particular stream is actually 80% federal, 20% provincial. It's a special COVID stream that the federal and provincial government worked together on to bring infrastructure investment at a time where the economy was going through a tough time, obviously with COVID. So it's a little different than the other streams that we typically do have. They tend to look more a third at the ballpark, but in this case, it's 80-20. So the municipal is getting a nice investment here. In terms of the actual breakdown locally, I would refer that to Mayor Patterson.
So thanks for passing that over. I think that I would probably want to pass that over to Casey, who I believe is on the line, who probably could give even better detail than I could about exactly where and how the funding will roll out. Casey, is that something that you're able to take?
Thank you, Mayor Patterson. I can let you know that there are a couple of projects that we are working on. The elevators for accessibility is definitely one of them. That is seeing just under $1 million for that. And then the rest of the funds will be going toward our washroom project. I'm not sure if Spiros is on the line, but he would have the exact breakdown for us for that.
You know, if I can just add something quickly, Mayor Patterson, just following on what Stephen, MPP Crawford was saying, you know, Darren, and it's great to see at least your name, Darren. It's been about 1.5 years. I look forward to when this can be done in person again. But I would just say that it's, you know, various different funding streams are set up in different ways. This one was set up as an 80-20 split. The federal government clearly has some you know, in some degrees more capacity in terms of bringing on money, but the actual amounts that I can tell you that are coming from the federal government for Kingston is 1.8 million. And then of course, as you know, my writing also includes the Frontenac Islands, Howe Island and Wolfe Island, and they're getting a total of $80,000. So just doing the math, the province is then contributing 20,000 to the Frontenac Islands and 460,000 to the city of Kingston. And it is a great project, a great partnership, as MPP Crawford indicated. You know, this is an opportunity to punch our way out of this, the recession that we have felt from the pandemic, and it's also doubles as an opportunity to improve these infrastructure projects. And I just want to say very quickly, I'm so delighted to see that money is specifically going towards Rideau Crest. Rideau Crest is, you know, one of the city-owned long-term care facilities in Ontario. And I think that one thing that we've learned from this, in Kingston, one thing that we've learned from this pandemic is that those long-term care facilities that are owned by municipalities fared much better in terms of the COVID exposure and COVID death rates when compared to not-for-profit and for-profit institutions. So knowing that part of this funding is going towards improving quality of life for, in particular, seniors that are in our long-term care facility in Kingston is really good news for a number of different reasons.
If there are any other, okay, Ian McAlpine.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. If you wouldn't mind.
Hello, gentlemen. How are you today?
Great, thank you.
Nice to hear your voice, Ian.
Yeah, you too, Mark. Nice to see your face. I'm choosing not to show my face, but that's okay. Just a quick question. Any timeline? Other maybe perhaps Mayor Patterson could answer this. Any timeline on the construction or when we'll see these projects coming to fruition?
I'll lead it off and then turn it over to Mayor Patterson. The objective of this particular funding stream is to get money out immediately. This is not something that, you know, these are projects that are supposedly ready to go. We want to, this is just as much about improving the infrastructure as it is getting our economy bouncing and punching our way out of this recession that we've created. I don't know, MPP Crawford, if you want to add to that, or we want to go to Mayor Patterson.
Yeah, I would just add to what you said. I mean, basically along the same lines that the whole purpose of this stream is to get things moving very quickly. It was brought in very quickly, this stream, and I get good cooperation from the levels of government, but it's designed to move quickly. So the specific, I think the mayor and the city would be better prepared to answer, but the purpose of this is to move very, very quickly.
Thank you. So I can say from the city's end that our plan is to use those dollars as quickly as possible. I don't have the exact timeline at the top of my head. I don't know, Casey, if you have any info on the Rideau Crest timeline, but I know that certainly we're going to get right to work on these projects as soon as we can.
Thank you, Mayor Patterson. I know for Rideau Crest, we've been planning on these funds for a couple of months now and are very much ready to act on these projects as quickly as we can. So in the next month, we're ready to go for those.
Great, thanks very much.
And I believe there was one more question in the Q&A from Maddie Zarb. Would you like to Maddie, would you like to ask the question?
Hi, yes, thank you. I'm speaking from Queen's University right now. I just had a question for Mayor Patterson. I was just wondering what plans there are to support universities and colleges in Kingston right now in rehabilitating our recreational and community infrastructure. Will any of this funding be allocated to assisting universities like Queen's in addressing the financial impacts of COVID-19, or will any future funding plans be coming in soon to address those needs?
Thanks, Patty, for the question, and certainly if Mark or Stephen want to jump in from a federal provincial perspective, what I can say is that locally, that we are actually working very closely as a city with both Queen's and St. Lawrence College to look for opportunities where we can partner together on applications for exactly that sort of community and recreational investment. We think that there are actually some pretty exciting partnership opportunities. Personally, I think that that's the way to move forward on this. Obviously, the funding opportunities, they are to some degree kind of up to the province and the federal government to offer them, but we will be ready. And certainly we're having those advanced conversations now.
And I guess thanks for that, Mayor Patterson. I thought you were going to suggest that MPP Crawford and I make other funding announcements today. But to answer your question specifically, this particular funding announced today is with respect to municipal projects within that are given to the municipalities. There are always other opportunities to work with universities and colleges. The federal government has, at least during my time in the last 6 years, has made several announcements at Queen's University for various different funding projects, like the new community space that's on, I forget the name of it, but the one on Union Street there. Also the large expansion of St. Lawrence College. So when the university wants to come to the federal government and wants to have a discussion about opportunities, we're certainly there to listen, to look for funding streams within what's currently available, or if something's coming down the line, and work very closely with them. My office certainly works closely with representatives from Queen's University to access funding when streams are open. So although that might not be the subject of the announcement today, there certainly will be opportunities, no doubt, in the coming months, and at least from the way that I'm interpreting things.
Thank you very much.
Are there any other questions from the media? Seeing none, I will close the Q&A portion of this funding announcement. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Justin, and thanks to all of our guests and everyone for joining us here today. Special again, thank you to Mark and Stephen. Thanks for joining us. Certainly, Mark, wish you all the best in the rest of your day in Ottawa, and Stephen in Oakville. We'll look forward to, like you said, soon being able to do these sort of announcements in person in the near future. But until then, thank you again very much, and hope everyone has a great day.
Thank you very much, and have a great day to everybody on the line.
Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks,